A very good morning to you on this fourth day of February. If you've joined us, you've reached the fifth connection, a channel on which we are given to talk you through the storyline. And this morning we are in chapter 6 of Ephesians and verse number 12. Warfare, battle formations. That's what we talk about when we talk about war. And the scriptures in Ephesians ends with war talk. A life situation that Paul prepares us for from chapter 1 and verse number 1. And he spends a lot of time preparing us for war talk. He talks through the battle formations that exist in the assembly, the family, the workplace, the workspace, children and parents, parents and children, husband and wife, wife and husband, all battle formations. And you need to understand this against the backdrop of the Roman Empire as well. The imperial ruling power, Rome, was functioning at its height in terms of oppression and suppression. And the Roman army, as we would say in Afrikaans, skrik vir niks, because its military might was well known around the then known world. They had a battle formation for everything. They had velites, they had histati, they had principes, they had triarii, all different formations for battle. And the velites were the first line of fire. They sort of formed the front lines, right? And they were the less experienced. And then you had the next line of fire with a little more experienced fighters. And then the third line of fire, of course, was the hardened veteran. And they knew exactly what they were doing. They actually improved on the Greek battle formation, which was the phalanx. In many Roman movies, you would see the phalanx. It would be the big body shields that stood quite high off of the ground, from the ground to about almost shoulder height. And it would protect the whole body. And when they put these shields over their heads and in front of their bodies, they would form a block, a solid block that could stand any then known force. They were a formidable enemy. And so when Paul talks about battle armor, it's not just talking about one little flimsy soldier. And incidentally, they weren't flimsy soldiers, because one Roman soldier had to protect 1 square meter of ground. May even be a little more than that, but he was a battle machine that protected 1 square meter. And if each of the soldiers protected 1 square meter, can you imagine the force that executed from a physical standpoint? And that's why the Roman army could not be beaten. Rome eventually fell because of many, many reasons, and a lot of them internal, because she started to rot from the inside, because the moral base was waning. And by the time the barbares got onto the borders, the barbarians, they thrashed the Romans good and solid, because they just kept on coming and kept on coming and kept on coming. So what Paul is talking about here in 11 to 20, or 10 of chapter 6 to 20, is no small thing. He uses war as a frame, a rhythm, and a strategy. Remember the word strategia. from which we get strategy. Because you see, the assembly is not a machine. The assembly is a live organism, battle readied for what comes at her. And she needs to see that she's constantly battle ready. Well, verse 12 starts out, and verse 12 emphasizes this continued idea of what the enemy is hell-bent on doing, but most of all, what the enemy is, who she is. Watch how verse 12 of the storyline describes the enemy. For we do not. First describes what the enemy is not, and then it describes what the enemy is. The enemy is not a wrestling against flesh and blood. But what is the enemy? Against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Now, first of all, you need to understand that this is a cosmic battle. And secondly, you need to understand that this is spiritual. The invisible informs the visible. Behind the physical fight is a spiritual fight. And once we understand who the enemy is, it changes our battle posture. Because nowhere is the enemy, is the Christian rather, called to kill a physical enemy as a first line of fire. Pull the sword and slit their throats. It is not like the religions of the world that perpetrate in the name of God or the gods, conquering by the sword. And if you apostatize, you will be taken out. You see, one place where the enemy, I think, cons us royally is that the enemy, or this egregore, remember that big word that I explained to you in a previous episode? What is an egregore? It is that entity, that ideology, that pervading mist, that ethereal mist that is here today, gone tomorrow, but it's constantly there. It's like COVID, it's there, and it is life-threatening. It's like the Pac-Man eating up, gobbling up whatever is in its way. Our ideologies are like that. And what Satan does through these egregores, because they do you, as we say, egregious harm, great harm. Satan keeps us in survival mode with less and less life and living. You see, he is so smart. He is so smart, but of course he's not smarter than the source of all being, who is Elohim. Satan keeps us in survival mode with less and less life, and he will not kill your kids. He'll get you to kill your kids, and he'll get you to kill you. He'll get you to kill your family, and he'll get you to take yourself out. That's how smart this enemy is. You are involved in a truceless battle. Can't make a truce with this enemy. Oh, you can surrender to him, but at cost of your own life. Your own life will be under threat. It's a truceless battle for truth. Not truthless battle for truth, truceless battle for truth. And it's a fight to the death. It's a fight to the finish. So it's spiritual, it's cosmic, and it's fatal. But we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. You thought your mother-in-law was your biggest enemy. Oh, how you've misread reality as a follower of the way. She is but an expression, about a tool that the enemy uses, that the egregore uses to do his damnedest thing, to kill you, to kill your kids, to get you to kill your kids and your family. Well, last time I checked, Jesus said, I come to give you life. What does Satan say? Listen to what Satan says. I come to give you a simulacrum of life. Something which looks like it, something which smells like it, but something which is nothing like it. It's an imitation. How often don't women wear imitation pearls? But those imitation pearls, if you can't recognize them, they say something to the community. We've got money. But a trained eye sees a simulacrum for what it is. Trained spiritual senses. A sense that is trained, an orientation that is able to discern, spots a simulacrum very quickly. This ain't the real thing. Because you see, untruth is more salient and less real than truth. But it's highly salient. What does that mean? Well, think about what fake news does. Fake news is the thing that catches your eye. Fake news. Oh, we stand for justice. We stand for the oppressed, but our motives are deadly. We actually have a bigger motive. We are here to take over so that we can institute a law that will kill Western culture. Sharia being an example. So we stand for truth. We stand for justice issues. We will fight for tolerance, but our motives aren't clear. It's a simulacrum of justice and life and living. But watch us once we get into power. And sad to say, we have so many religions that function at that level. In our own country, we have religions functioning at that level. They have a simulacrum of power. Untruth is salient. In other words, it catches our eye a lot more quickly than truth does. A lie gets halfway around the world, said good old Churchill, long before truth can put its pants on. Now we laugh about the image, but that's true. People would rather believe the lie than the truth, because the truth gets them to think. Lies are there to dupe and to delude. So Satan's line, don't forget, is I come to give you a simulacrum of life. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but we fight against cosmic powers, authorities that have power over this darkness, against spiritual forces in the heavenly places. I don't know what this text says to you, but it says that it's a life and death fight. And you and I are involved in it, whether we like it or not. And the issue is, how do we prep for it? But we need to understand what we're up against, first of all. Understand, according to 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 9, that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, fleshly, but mighty to the pulling down of fortresses, mental strongholds, ideologies, simulacrums. As you go into this day, I would encourage you to become highly mindful of what the battle is and where the battle rages. And you are part of a battle formation. If you're a husband, you're part of a battle formation called marriage. If you're a parent, you're part of a battle formation called family. If you're a child, you're part of a battle formation called home. And so we go on and on and on. So a heightened awareness does something. And I will leave that with you and for you as you go into this day. What's your awareness level like of the battle formation that you are part of? It's quite scary. As you go into this day, I trust that you will enjoy the Lord as He continues to open your mind to what's really real. Go with God, and goodbye for now.